Great. All set, Nicole?
Yes.
All right, I'll go ahead and call this meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission to order at 6:35 for Tuesday, June 24th, 2025. May I get a roll call, please?
Yes, Chair Williams.
Here.
Vice Chair Berteau.
Present.
Commissioner Aragon.
Here.
Commissioner Stepiznik.
Here.
Commissioner Westmoreland. Commissioner Wood.
Here.
Commissioner Anderson is joined virtually.
Great. All right, let's all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, are there any public comments this evening, either in person or online?
No public comments in chamber, and there's nobody online.
All righty, we'll move on to the consent agenda then, the minutes of the June 3rd, 2025 Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. Did everyone have a chance to review those, and does anyone have any questions or concerns? No questions? Would anyone like to make a motion?
I move to approve the minutes of the June, what was it, second meeting? June 3rd meeting.
We have a motion from Commissioner Stepiznik,
And I'll second that.
second from Commissioner Aragon. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any conflicts of interest or agenda changes tonight?
There are no agenda changes.
Great. And any conflicts?
Nope.
No. All right, let's get into the first then public notice action item, the Rislenda SIA, and I'll turn it over to Director Centeno. Thanks for the update.
Yes, and I'm actually going to, I can do a quick introduction, but then Attorney Sawyer is going to take the lead on this one. The Rislenda project came in front of you all for their final plat and PUD amendment. One of the governing documents that they have, or agreements that they have, within that PUD is that they're gonna have a subdivision improvements agreement. And that within our code comes in front of the Planning Commission for a recommendation. So that is presented to you tonight. And there are a couple changes, and I'll let Attorney Sawyer talk about those.
Great. So you don't often see agreements, and in fact, Nicole and I, when we were walking through what had to be done for Rislenda, we were looking at the noticing section, and we're like, interesting. The noticing section says that subdivision improvement agreements are supposed to be reviewed by Planning Commission. So we sent out notice and provided you with a draft of the document. The draft that's included or was included in your packet, you will see still had some blanks. And you know, the memo identified that there were some things that still needed to be filled in. The SIA usually is not completed until we have final engineering, and this applicant has not quite yet submitted to final engineering and cost estimates for the project. And so there are still a few open items that we will work to fill in as that detail is provided. Subdivision improvements agreement essentially brings together all of the elements of a plat and of the PUD and conditions of approval and puts them in a binding document. It, I would say, kind of governs two things. The first one is what happens when the plat gets recorded. And the second is how to implement the construction of the public improvements and the acceptance process for those improvements with the town. And so if you've had a chance to kind of skim through this document, you'll see there's a section on fees, for example, because we need to identify what fees are applicable and what time they are payable. There is a section on property interests that need to be conveyed to the town, in particular trail easements. When that happens and the process that occurs by. Dedications of parkland are covered in this document. We have some language that extends past the construction. We have some language about obligations clarifying, in particular for trails, who's maintaining what in this subdivision. There's a number of private improvements, the internal roadway, the internal sidewalks, and the internal pedestrian trails are all private improvements that will be maintained by the owners association. A very important part of the subdivision improvement agreement deals with the question of security. And so this is something a lot of people don't know, if you are developing property for a period of time, you actually have to come up with 2 times as much money as is needed to construct the roads, water, sewer, the public improvements. And the reason is that you have to put security down with the town in the amount of 110%, I think, and silt, yeah, 110% of the construction cost estimate that is actually on file with the town, either in the form of a bond or a letter of credit. And the idea there is that we're recording the plat. The plat creates lots. Those lots don't really have any functionality until roads, water, sewer, electric, and similar things are built. And so the town essentially takes cash or the equivalent thereof to guarantee that the developer builds what it is they have promised to build. And if they don't, and this has happened only a couple of times in my tenure as a town attorney, but that you can actually go liquidate the letter of credit and the town gets sent a check for $1.3 million and we then go build everything. So security is included in this document. Water service and water rights. So in this situation, the developer at the time of annexation dedicated, I believe it was 4 shares in the Cactus Valley ditch. Those shares have been incorporated into the town's water system, and in exchange, the developer will get certain credits in terms of EQRs of service in the town's water system. They also will have the right to develop a well on the property. The town adjudicated some wells along the river for the purpose of doing raw water irrigation, because the town's raw water irrigation, most of your houses are probably served by the town's raw water system. That does not extend on the other side of Interstate 70. So we have provided for raw water irrigation by having adjudicated wells. And then the agreement, I think, kind of goes on and gets finalized with a process whereby the town, when improvements are constructed, the town sends the town engineer and Joe Lundeen, the public works director, and sometimes Nicole tags along, and they go and inspect the improvements. The developer then provides a certification from their engineer that the improvements were constructed as contemplated in the engineering documents. And the improvements then are eventually accepted by the town. That starts a warranty period where the developer again has to post security. There is a warranty bond. Usually it's 10% of the construction cost. And in the event that the public improvements don't hold up for 2 years, the developer can either go out and fix it, or we can call the warranty bond and get the improvements in the condition they should be. There are a couple of items in this SIA that we will be doing a little bit of work on. One is at the Board of Trustees meeting last night, the motion to approve the PUD guide included a new condition, and that new condition is for the construction either of an underpass trail or a culvert kind of tunnel trail underneath the county road, connecting the existing pedestrian trail behind the Holiday Inn with the trail system that is going to be developed at Reslinda. And so we will be working on incorporating that into the document. There will be a little bit of phasing that gets worked out. It's in discussions with the developer, there may be some improvements that are not constructed with the initial set of improvements, but rather get triggered in a year or two. And we will work through not only the timing of when those improvements have to be started and then completed, but also to ensure that there is security. In other words, that if they don't build those later phases of improvements, that the town has security to make sure that we can go in and build those. Finally, the town staff is recommending that the commercial properties, which are parcels 3, 5, and 6, I believe, will be activated within the town's urban renewal authority, and a new plan for those properties adopted, whereby they would be able to take advantage of what's called tax increment financing. And that essentially is that as those commercial properties develop, the difference in what they pay in taxes between the current assessment and what it will be assessed at after the buildings and improvements are on it, that, or at least the majority of that increment, gets rebated back to the developer to help pay for public improvements. And in this case, there's a couple of bigger public improvements, both are trail related. There will be a bridge from parcel 4 over to tract 8A, which was discussed the last time we were with you. There also will be, it sounds like this, underpass under the county road. Both of those are not inexpensive, and the tax increment financing provides a way to help implement what are public goals for the development of this property. And so we'll be working on some language around inclusion into the URA and the availability of tax increment financing. Happy to answer any questions. Certainly, as you've reviewed this development, if you say to yourself, well, where's the section on something that we've talked about in the past? It does happen from time to time that we miss something that needs to be in this agreement. So we're happy to get your feedback, answer any questions. And again, I think the staff is looking for a recommendation from the Planning Commission to the Board of Trustees to approve this document.
Great, thank you, Attorney Sawyer. Appreciate that. Director Centeno, do you have anything to add?
I do. So within your packet, what I have pulled up on the screen right now, there is the planning recommendation. There's 3 conditions of approval, and that is the standard that all representations made during the meeting or during the packet, verbally or spoken by the applicant or staff or the commissioners, are to be implemented. And then number 2 is that the applicant provides any additional requested documents and pays any related fees. And then number 3 is that the applicant submit the requested updated exhibits and mapping that will go with all of their agreement documentation. And then number 4 is that this is not an approval for construction. And there is a recommended motion as well. And Mitchell did jump on line 2. So
Great.
he
Thank
might
you,
be
Director
available.
Centeno. Yeah, absolutely. Mitchell, would you have anything that you'd like to add to that before we get to questions?
No, there's nothing for me to add. I'm just snooping.
Okay, awesome. Thanks for hopping on. Appreciate it. Does anyone have any questions?
Sounded like from what the town attorney said, one of the things that hasn't really been decided on dates yet is the phasing of the trail and the bridge. Is that correct?
I would say that that is kind of the discussion item, the remaining discussion item we have with the applicant is when they believe that requirement should be triggered. And then now we need to think through this, again, this underpass under the county road. And when that would be triggered.
Because right now it seems like the phasing for the trail begins as soon as the plat is recorded or approved.
Yes, and we need, and that needs to, there's a bit of a chicken and egg issue. There is a very major drainage channel that runs between parcels
3 and 4.
3 and 4. And part of that might be, I'm not gonna say it is going to be, but might be determined at site plan for both of those parcels. And it's hard to put in a trail until the final drainage is completed. So we need to have a discussion with the developer about their plans for implementing the drainage and how that informs the construction of the trail.
All right, thank you.
I've got a question, Attorney Sawyer, is, as far as where are we thinking as far as plans? When are they gonna be developed and finalized? We getting kind of close to that? Because I mean, once this agreement's signed, basically have 24 months to get all the infrastructure and everything in place.
Yeah,
So I mean,
I'm sorry, Eddie.
so I mean, with all that, I mean, that part of it, once you have either the box culvert or culvert going underneath the roadway there, because the permits and everything, have they been secured or they haven't been talked about or anything like that to
No,
implement that? Because
and Mitchell can chime in, as I think he would state this is a fairly recent addition to his engineering plans. So as to roads, water, sewer, drainage, those types of things, the town engineer and the applicant's engineer have been trading plans back and forth, and I think those are progressing towards where we'll have a final plan set for that. Those plans have to be finished and accepted by the town before we approve and record the final plat. We don't record plats without having all the engineering fully baked. Occasionally, there are things that, again, are anticipated to happen at a point certain in the future where we say, well, we know you don't have the final plans, for example, the underpass under the county road, but we are going to set that you will have an application to submit that engineering within a year, and that then you have 2 years after that to complete construction, and that we then have a mechanism whereby the town will get security to ensure that that public improvement is built.
I think the only concern I would have on that, if it's, a year or 2 years down the road, the escalation of pricing. It
Yeah.
seems like it's just continually going up and up and up. I mean, if you're looking at a box culvert or something underneath the roadway, I mean, that's extremely expensive. And it could double in 2 years after everything gets signed. So I mean, it's, the security and all that good stuff. It'd be something to really have them, probably get something together now and kind of get a general idea of what the cost would be. If we're doing some type of funding, is what I heard earlier with the town.
The financing that the
See some
town is
portion.
offering is not upfront. Again, it's based upon the taxes being rebated or a portion of the property taxes being rebated over time.
Okay.
So that comes in kind of on the back end. I think you definitely have identified something that is a major incentive for the applicant to get promptly working on things. And if we delay completion of engineering for any specific public improvement, they will have to give us a cost estimate at that time. So whatever cost estimate we get, which then forms the basis for getting the security, will be current as of the date that the town approves the engineering.
Gotcha.
So as Eddie says, costs are going up. But what you just said was that it's at a specific date and time that the cost is established, and that sets the bond rate or bond level and the rate. So if the costs go way up, the bond doesn't necessarily follow.
Yes, and it's an inherent challenge of securitizing multi-phased, bigger development projects. What I will tell you is historically, the reason we get 110% of the engineer's cost estimate is because that used to be a reasonable amount of additional money to cover construction cost increases over a year or 2 years. You are correct that based upon, at least since 2021, those kind of assumptions that you might have a 5% increase per year no longer really hold, that our code still says 110%.
I have some questions. The newer development of having some sort of underpass built connecting to the trail at the Holiday Inn, why is that just happening now?
Yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead.
It just seems like this has kind of been a 4-year in the making project. It seems like a fairly large thing to just come up now. So I'm a little confused, and I feel like maybe I know that's not directly what we're talking about, but that's kind of like a big thing that has just been added into these plans.
Well, if I can provide a little bit of historical background, and then I'll give a quick interpretation of what I think happened. So in 2013, the applicant came to the town and asked for a new annexation agreement. This property came in, was approved in 2007. We all know in 2008, the real estate economy tanked. What they had thought they were going to build made no sense. They came back in 2013. They came with a new concept. They got a new annexation agreement. And at that time, the developer agreed in the annexation agreement that so not an at-grade crossing, but a underground crossing would be put in at the developer's cost between the Reslinda property and the Holiday Inn property. In 2022, so 9 years later, the owner of the property teams up with Reslinda. They come back with a new concept, and one of the terms for an amendment to the annexation agreement that they requested and that they were able to get passed was that as opposed to building the underground crossing, they would make a somewhat nominal cash contribution toward lengthening the existing sidewalk from the intersection at the county road down to the path at the Holiday Inn. And that was discussed quite extensively. And there were a couple of people on the Board of Trustees who felt very passionately about that at the time. And their position did not carry the day then. But because the developer has come back and asked for increased density and changes to the annexation agreement, we essentially had the opportunity to reopen the terms of that agreement. And again, a couple of members on the Board of Trustees continue to feel very passionately that that needed to be back in the approval set. And based upon the motion and the votes that happened last night, that was reinserted. So I think you're correct. It is not an issue that the staff had been focusing on and that we had been requesting engineering on, because it had been removed from the prior version of the annexation agreement. Although I think
So that's not quite correct, Michael, right? So there was never an agreement to build a below grade connection under 311.
I would differ with you, Mitchell. I read it last night, and that's what it said.
And I've read it as well. The agreement, the historic agreement, was to provide a connector under the bridge, under the 311 bridge, connecting the Holiday Inn trail with a proposed trail at the southwest corner of the property. it was not a below grade tunnel under 311.
Well, then my nomenclature, the point is, it was not an at-grade crossing. It was under the roadway.
The point is that it was never in there. So when you say things like, you know, we took it out or it was put back in, that's actually just not, it's not accurate, right? So you know, the historic agreement was to build a connector under the bridge. And the discussion last night and the decision last night, from my notes, was to build a connector again under the bridge.
I believe, and I would allow Jim and Nicole to chime in, I believe that it is that there will be a not at grade connection from the Reslinda property to the trail behind the Holiday Inn, and that might be under the bridge, or that might be.
And that's how well thought out this was last night, right? That you and I still don't know exactly what the requirement is.
Based on the comments that were made last night, I feel reasonably confident in saying that it is a not at grade crossing from the north side, or from the east side to the west side.
Okay.
Thanks for the discussion. Thanks for the question, Commissioner Wood.
Yeah, I'm just concerned that I guess, something like that should come to planning and zoning first, right?
You know, it is, at the end of the day, it's a public improvement. That. I mean, you do review engineering plans. It doesn't affect the plat. Plat remains the same. It is a public improvement that you review as part of reviewing like a PUD plan, which was also in front of you. But at the end of the day, it is the Board of Trustees that ultimately approves the final construction set and the subdivision improvement agreement that implements it.
So with them being able to be part of the URA when their commercial properties come online, that's going to take some time, but trying to figure out this massive funding gap, are there some creative ways that the town, the county, you know, can help I mean, is that a thing to help them with those costs? I mean, that's probably not a small cost adding into this overall development. That just seems like a very large barrier that's been added into it all of a sudden.
I would say that you, as part of a recommendation, could encourage the Board of Trustees or ask the Board of Trustees to explore options to that effect.
Okay.
So I don't know that we are prepared, other than beyond that the staff does support the inclusion of the commercial properties in the URA and a tax increment financing back. I don't think we're prepared with any specific ideas.
So I did listen to the entirety of the meeting last night, and I was going to ask whether a separate conclusion had been reached outside of this meeting that I wasn't aware of, but it sounds like that is still open as far as whether it would be under the bridge or whether it would be under the road. It sounds like they're going to bring in engineering to do the bridge to the island, and maybe while they already have the engineering down there, they could get a better assessment of the feasibility of going under the bridge. Just going off memory, I go to that park a lot, and to me, it seems like if we're going to put something in that we're expecting to flood during the high water portion of the river flow, me personally, I would prefer if the trail is closer to the river rather than a tunnel under the road. That's just my personal input, and I think it would be cheaper, and I can't see why it wouldn't be feasible with proper engineering and approval through all the different processes that need to happen for anything to be constructed in the river floodplain.
Again, as a recommended condition, if you felt as a commission that expressing a preference for the location is helpful, you're free to do that.
Great.
I know that the town, I'll let Jim talk to this, that we're trying to get the town engineer down there to at least give us a quick assessment from the town's perspective as to.
Yes, we have a plan to extend some of our inspections that we have for another development tomorrow and co-opt our poor engineer into another project.
And we do have a meeting scheduled tomorrow with the Rislinda crew at 10 that we'll be able to further discuss. This was all just a new development last night, and we haven't even had a chance to discuss with them everything that board meeting entailed. So we'll talk to them tomorrow morning. This was already on the agenda, so we figured that we would just still go on ahead and present it.
Correct. Recognizing, yeah, this is like a
Yeah.
little bit separate and apart, but combined. Yeah, certainly a robust Board of Trustees meeting last night, to be able, a few of us were able to watch it. And so, yeah, just lots of updates to kind of absorb tonight and additional questions and the like. Did anyone have any other questions before?
Yes, so is postponing this decision an option for 2 weeks or a month?
I mean, you do have as one of your options to continue.
Sorry.
I would certainly want the applicant to chime in. We have, we are targeting for July 14th, thank you. Having the second reading of the PUD, the plat, the annexation agreement amendment and this SIA on that agenda.
By the same token, they can continue that second reading.
They can, and again, I want the applicant to have an opportunity to chime in. We as I indicated, there are a couple of substantive discussions that we need to have with the applicant around phasing and completion of engineering. But I will say in my mind, that does not preclude a recommendation of approval of this SIA today. With those items being worked out with the owners between now and the 14th and having things ready for the board to review at that time. And again, from a timing standpoint, my guess is the applicant would really prefer that we keep on that schedule, but that's for them to express.
Thanks, Attorney Sawyer. Mitchell, would you have any other comments to add to that?
I do not.
Okay.
Is it public notice? It is.
I move to recommend approval to the Board of Trustees.
Sorry,
For-
it is a public noticed action. plan.
Okay, so like public hearing. All right, it's 7:09. We'll go ahead and open the public hearing. Hearing nothing, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing. Call it 7:10. And if there are no other commissioner comments or questions, would entertain a motion.
I move to recommend approval to the Board of Trustees of the Rislinda subdivision improvements agreements with the conditions listed in the staff report and spoken during this meeting. That's numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4 on the planning recommendation.
I'll second that.
All right, we have a motion from Commissioner Berteau, a second from Commissioner Anderson. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Sorry, Director Centeno.
Sorry, alternate Wood is a voting member, but alternate Anderson will not be a voting member until the next one when he takes his seat.
Oh, Justin, say it ain't so. All right, so we'll need
I'll
second.
second the motion.
All right, we have Commissioner Aragon seconding the motion. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right. That'll go forward to the Board of Trustees. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for your time tonight, Mitchell.
Thank you, commissioners.
All right, the next item on our agenda is also a public notice action item, Main Street Plaza sketch plan review. Turn it over to Director Centeno.
Yes, thank you. You get to the right part here on the screen. Alrighty, are you here with Main Street?
They're all out there
They're out there.
waiting to
Okay.
come in.
Okay.
Hello, welcome.
Yes.
Hi.
Hi, everyone.
Come up, are we up?
You are up. Yeah, feel free. I just turn it over to Nicole to provide her presentation and then we'll go through the public comment.
Yes, thank you.
hearings.
How we doing?
Great.
Nicole.
Hey, how are you? Alrighty, so tonight we have Main Street Plaza, which is an existing PUD that's located off of the corner of First and Home, off of Home Avenue. And a quick introduction, they are applying for a minor subdivision sketch plan and PUD amendment. And there will also have to be an errata amendment, an amendment to their development agreement with some changes that happen that I'll get into here in just a minute. The applicant is proposing to subdivide the parcel into 5 lots, which is the qualifier for a minor subdivision. There will be 3 multifamily buildings adjacent to Home Avenue and then 2 commercial buildings adjacent to Highway 6. The total residential units will be at 20 and there's going to be 4,200 square feet of commercial space. A quick background, the applicant and the town have pieced together as much history as we can. There's maybe some holes, but I think we've got it figured out pretty well. It's been 15 years since the original approval, but there was an annexation and zoning that was recorded. It started in 2007, it recorded in 2009. And then in 2010, there was an annexation agreement that was recorded. And then in 2014, there was a breach of annexation agreement. And then in 2018, there was a reinstated annexation agreement. From what all of us have been able to find, there was never a final plat recorded. And so that'll be part of their journey this time, is to make sure we get to final plat and get that recorded. The location is up on the screen. Let me see if I can make it bigger. It's 1.32 acres. And as I said, it's situated right on Home and First. I did put for reference for the Planning Commission what the sketch plan review process was within the staff report. So I won't go into detail on that. It is located in the service and commercial support within the comprehensive plan. And staff feels that they are meeting that comprehensive plan with their mix of commercial and residential. There's a little more information on that. So now I'll take you down their journey recently. Over the past several months, the applicant has submitted 3 different renderings of a sketch plan based on the approved town agreements, as well as the town and referral agency feedback. The original plan included the existing development agreements requirement to make Birch Court a through road. And I did attach everything within the Dropbox that they had provided so you can see the different renderings, but I didn't want it to get too confusing for everybody, so I did not add the different renderings within the staff report. But development agreement requires that Birch be a through road. After they came in and talked to town staff did not want, our public works director did not want Birch to be the through road. He would rather see Dogwood as the through road. And so based off of that, they went back, they revamped their plans, resubmitted that, and that plan had access to the commercial district on the south side of their development to have access off of Highway 6. So then we got the CDOT referral comments back, and then we were told they were not going to be able to gain access to the project at all from Highway 6. So they're gonna have, so then they went back through and they had to, where they kind of had the two different entrances that were compartmentalizing the commercial and the residential, they had to go back in and create an access from Home Avenue to go back through to service the property as a whole. And so that has led us to the current rendering that's in the staff report that has, and then the fire department also weighed in and said that they still needed an emergency access from Main Street. So that's why it looks like it could potentially be a through, but there's going to be a gate and it's going to be locked. And so between CDOT's requirements and the fire department's requirements, that is what the development's going to have is a gated entrance off of Main Street or Highway 6 that doesn't allow through traffic unless it's an emergency. So that brings us to this rendering that will have a hammerhead turnaround for emergency services if they don't open up the gate, as well as access to all 5 lots. And when I had said that we needed to amend a couple of the agreements, we're gonna have to amend the annexation agreement to not acknowledge Birch Court as a through road and change, there was one thing in the PUD that needed to change. So those changes will happen after we get through this initial sketch concept plan and get the feedback to make sure that they're heading in the right direction before we start working too much on the governing documents that will regulate the zoning for the project. Overall, staff finds that the sketch plan proposal aligns with the town's governing documents and the parcel's previously approved agreements. The sketch plan is a viable start to the process of bringing this project to final plat and development. I do have some planner recommendations in there that I will go through quickly. Number 1 is that all representations made in the staff report verbally will be incorporated. Number 2 is that the applicant provides any additional requested documents and pay all related fees. Number 3 is that the applicant makes the necessary changes to the governing agreements, enabling the project to progress the final plat. Number 4 is that the referral agency comments as well as staff comments are addressed during the remaining minor subdivision process. Number 5 is that each tract that will be developed will require a site plan review. And then number 6 is that this approval would not be for construction. And there is a recommended motion, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have about this project.
Great, thanks, Director Centeno. Does anyone have any questions for Nicole before we turn it over to our applicants?
You didn't really mention much about the 10-foot setback change
For which,
for the property. The 3 units, the 3 buildings, excuse me.
so there is going to be a setback change. Typically, there's an existing requirement, but in a typical commercial development, which is what this is going to be as a commercial PUD, it's determined at any commercial is determined at the time of site plan. So that's one thing that when we get into the PUD and look at what setbacks are going to need to change, we will adjust it according to this and according to their redesign of what they were required to do for referral agencies.
All right, very good. Thank you.
All right. Hi, gentlemen. How are you?
I'm doing well. Nicole, can you have a larger map like that, like a little later, just a few slides down, I think, in your report? Thank you. if you want to just leave that one up, I'll refer, I thought
Great.
it was a little easier to read, but, hi, my name is Doug Pratt with the Land Studio. Julie Pratt and I have been working with, Main Street Plaza LLC. Rob Turley, here is the owner of the property. So, we have put this sketch plan together, with the civil engineer, Chris Hale from Mountain Cross Engineering. It's back here as well, and Laurel Quinto from JVAM. So, this is our team so far. I'm just going to talk through an overview. I think you hit most of it, so I'll try not to spend a lot of time. But just again, to reiterate, the property is 1.322 acres, previously annexed into the town of Silt and zoned as PUD in 2009. So that PUD zoning is still in effect. I mean, at least that's kind of what we all determined in tandem, I think, going through a review of the zoning for this project. The proposal is a minor subdivision of 5 total lots. I did want to qualify a little bit. While we've talked about number of units and amount of floor area for commercial, we are actually, what we're illustrating here is not meant to be a sketch plan or a site plan for the units. It's meant to be a sketch plan for the subdivision. So this piece right here is really the intent, is to show where the setbacks, where the easements, where the building envelopes, all of those types of things are. So we showed you a sketch site plan so that it had a little context. This is what you might be able to do with a site plan, a sketch plan that looks like this. But just to reiterate, in the existing zoning, there's a maximum density of 22 units per acre or 29 residential units. That's not what we're looking at. I don't know that we could ever park 29 units, but we're going to leave all of this in place. We're not amending this PUD zoning. We're complying with the PUD zoning. So it also allows for up to 10,000 square feet per acre of commercial density. So we're not doing that either. But I just wanted to qualify that just because you're looking at these numbers now, they're really an example of what we can do within this sketch plan. Am I making sense? We will have to go through site plan review and you'll see it all again. But I just wanted to qualify, in order to understand floor area of buildings, number of parking spaces, we had to do a test of the site to see how much. So our test included 13 two-story, 2-bedroom townhomes, 1,200 square feet each, 7 500 square foot studio apartments that reside over commercial buildings. The commercial spaces that were 1,800 square feet of mixed use in one building and 2,400 square feet in another. So it's a total commercial area of 4,200 square feet. So again, that was a test of this sketch plan. The PUD amendment, what we're looking to do is amend the final plat. So the PUD we're complying with, but the PUD referenced a final plat that actually was never recorded, and it referenced things like setbacks and building envelopes on that final plat. So because it's a PUD that's referencing a plat, to amend the plat, which was never recorded, we're feeling like it's a PUD amendment. So am I saying that correctly, Nicole? So that was our intent. Comply with the PUD language, but record a new plat. So that's where we're at. We've looked at water, sewer, irrigation utilities provided by the town of Silt. Xcel Energy, Comcast, CenturyLink provide other utilities. Access is from Home Avenue from the north, with emergency access from the south from Main Street or Highway 6 and 24. Off-street parking, we're providing in this sketch off-street parking that meets the town of Silt's requirements in the current code. I will just note the previous plan that was in as part of this PUD application no longer met the parking requirements. So we actually have more parking. We've upgraded the parking to meet the code. So that's a little bit of a change from the previous site plan that was developed. What we provided was a concept sketch plan, a concept subdivision, which is on this screen, a utility connections plan, vicinity map, the existing PUD guide, which is ordinance number 5, series of 2009. And also we included as an exhibit the 2018 ARADA, which was resolution 18, series of 2018. So with that, we submitted all of those documents, made 3 sets of changes. Our pre-app document showed Birch Street coming all the way through. Our second document showed access to the south for commercial, access from the north for residential, and this is our current concept. So I guess you could say your sketch plan process is working because we amended things 3 times at sketch rather than engineering it 3 times, but that's been the process so far. So we did revise the plan to show the emergency egress at the south. Just as a note, we worked with let's see who all we worked with on this. So we had feedback from Colorado River Fire Protection District, Orrin Moon, the fire marshal, and also from who was it? Brian Killian, who's the CDOT Region 3 Access Program Manager. So we worked with both of those guys and with Nicole upon review of the access management plan and the fire district's requirements for emergency access. We came up with this plan. We'll be providing additional refinements to this as we go through the sketch plan process. Ultimately, we have to still engineer all of this at preliminary plan and then onto final plat. So while I'd like to say this is it, it's really an early concept, and we'll be providing more details at preliminary plan as we get through this. And just to let you know, this document was just updated May 26th of 2025. So it's current. So I know a little bit of that was a rehash, but if you kind of look at the notes, which I won't go over on this, it just gives you a summary of the residential parking requirements, floor areas, the commercial office summary of parking requirements, floor areas. We have 9 by 19 spaces, which are compliant with the code. So I've also noted that we've met the town of Silt's parking requirements based on all the floor areas. So yeah, it's again a sketch plan, and we're happy to discuss any possibilities, refinements, support, whatever you guys have.
Great, thanks, Doug. Appreciate it.
Anybody? Rob, I'm sorry.
I'm good.
I did a lot of
You did a
talking
good
there.
job.
All right. Anybody else? No. They're all here, so if you have questions.
I do, Mr. Pratt. My biggest concern that I see just is not the access from US Highway 6. I mean, one way in, it seems like if something does happen in the entrance, I mean, sure, the fire department has access to the gate or whatever, but it just seems like a bad thing waiting to happen if something really does occur. And some people are coming trying to get away from everything. It's all blocked up here, and you have nothing down here until the fire department gets there. It's just, I mean, I don't know why CDOT shot it down, to be honest with you, but it's just a concern that I see from in and out of this, and the amount of residential and the traffic study and whatever would have to do to make
Right.
sure that we can get in and out, and
Right.
then parking on home, is that part of your spaces also that you're showing there's parallel parking?
So the parallel parking on home is additional spaces, so they're not included in the parking count. I mean, there is some parking on Home Street, so if we have the capability or the possibility, I guess, I think we have the capability, the possibility to park on Home Street. It provides some additional parking on Home, but it's not included in the parking count that meets your standards for off-street parking.
Are there entryways on the Home Street side of the townhomes?
We have entryways. Again, it's a concept for the subdivision, but what I've illustrated is a possibility, yeah, for entryways. That's kind of like maybe like almost like an alley house where the back side, the parking lot side is the back of house, the Home Street is the front of house, with an opportunity for maybe front porch and sidewalk that goes out to the units haven't been designed, so stop me if I'm overstepping. But that was kind of the idea, is there would be an opportunity for the homes to face.
Will the development then be providing a sidewalk adjacent to Home Avenue?
We have one illustrated. Yeah, I do think we'll need.
I mean, it's shown I'm looking at the next map.
Kind of the illustrative drawing.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's kind of in gray up there too, but yeah, and actually we see that as requiring that we also do a sidewalk down at the south along Highway 6 and 24 along Main Street. So it gets a little funky there too. I don't know if I don't know about fronting those commercial spaces on a street that you can't access from. I mean, it's a little bit of I think much as you were alluding to about emergency access that is Main Street. You would like businesses to front Main Street, but we don't have access from Main Street. So it might be a little bit of an architectural challenge to try and get units that, you know, look like they address Highway 6 and 24 Main Street, as well as have access from the backside.
Well, Eddie's concern is valid, certainly more than valid, and why CDOT makes their decisions, we don't always know or aren't privy to that discussion, let me say.
Well, I will qualify, if you don't mind,
Not
that
mine, go
the
ahead.
access management plan is actually developed by the town of Silt and CDOT in tandem. So that access management plan is what's in place to control access on Highway 6
Yeah,
and
and
24.
Do you want
Am I correct?
You
or
go
am I-
ahead.
The access control and management plan was adopted and created in
2009.
2009. And we met with representatives of CDOT not too recently to talk about another issue we're having with the access control plan. It may behoove the town to reopen that plan, but that's a $250,000 to $300,000 cost to the town. We have found.
So you'd
a
have to have more than
variety-
just this one issue.
Well, there's more than just this one issue
Okay.
with the access and control plan that we found, especially when you look at the developments that are occurring on the south side of the interstate. And some of the limitations that we're running up to there that are going to create problems for us in the future. I would love to say that the CDOT representatives were yielding, but they were not, and their plan is their plan, and we helped create it, and it's what we're stuck with right now. And so it is something that we may need to consider. The problem is it takes a year, 2 years to do the plan.
Well, I mean, they can propose whatever they want to propose and whatever they want to, that's fine. But to have commercial adjacent to the highway, but not having access from the highway makes you wonder how successful the commercial can be. Or it may be a limiting factor as to who would want to go in there without Highway 6 access.
Right. And I know Rob has an office that he's interested in doing, and we would agree with you. That wasn't our first choice. This was our third choice. But this is the choice after going through the referral agency reviews that we came to as a compromise. Like I said, it would be nice to be able to have something architecturally that looks like it's, fronting Main Street on that side, much like I discussed on the north side for the residential townhomes on Home, but we won't get access. Yeah, we'll get access from the back.
There's another question I got too, just looking at the plan. I mean, I know it's not developed or nothing like that, no design. Any green space? I mean, it looks like you basically just have concrete asphalt buildings. I mean, and with residential, you'd like to have something where the kids can at least.
Yeah, and we've, based on previous parking requirements that the town had, I was able to illustrate some green space, but the parking requirements as they stand right now, I mean, it is a lot of parking. I mean, I've tried to at least show pedestrian paths that can, come through the project from Home Avenue all the way down to Main Street, so that even though it's not a vehicular corridor, I know that's not green space, but maybe to talk about, circulation, it's not just vehicular circulation, it's pedestrian circulation. Right, we have parking islands that are required by the town, and we'll be able to have street trees and those types of things, sidewalks that run through. But I am not showing we would actually have to do, I think I wrote down, I think our current annexation agreement or development agreement illustrate opportunities for cash in lieu of park space in the project. So that might be something we look at the next step.
Yeah, and there's additional landscaping requirements at site plan. So when they're developing each individual lot, they'll have landscaping requirements that have to be met that they'll incorporate into their renderings also.
Do you have plans to engage with neighbors around this as far as, you know, when you have something more finalized of, hey, what do you guys think of this?
Yeah, I think it'd be a good, yeah, we haven't reached out so far at the sketch plan level
Sure.
because it's really a subdivision, but we can, yeah, definitely we could reach out to the neighborhood and I think a lot of times, much like I tried to illustrate maybe in the illustrative drawing that you were looking at, you know, something a little more tangible, you know, as we get
Mhm.
into, I mean, if we get guidance now on the 5-lot subdivision and we start putting plans together, we could reach out and work with neighbors on those things.
Yeah, I think that would be an important step
Okay.
once you get more to conceptualizing like this.
They'll be concerned about
options.
traffic,
Well,
Right.
and parking,
et cetera.
all that stuff.
Right.
Like I just think it
Okay.
would be a
Well,
good
it's-
idea to do that.
This meeting was publicly noticed, correct? And
Correct.
so they all received
Okay.
notices that there was development happening, meeting if they wanted to come in and make a public comment.
Yeah.
Correct?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and several, well, 3. Oh, no, I guess it's just 2 are county.
Mm.
And then part of the other side is county. So there's a lot of county that's surrounding this property also.
Okay.
But everybody was public notice within 200 feet.
Yeah, I think just keeping that in mind, like moving forward when it's
Okay.
like actually happening. And then another question, again, this is probably like future thinking, but with the townhomes, are these going to be for purchase or are they rentals?
Again, it would be a concept for now, but what are you thinking about for?
They're gonna be to purchase. Wow,
Perfect.
So it's,
you're our hero. for
Yeah, that's awesome.
today,
I was like,
today.
please don't say
There's
rentals.
gonna be an HOA too. Cause I want something nice for the city,
Nice.
so.
and I think as a project like this is developed kind of together, I mean, the hatched areas were shown as access and utility. I mean, there will be things that are owned in common by, you know, this project. So, I mean, having an HOA, having owned townhomes, you know, I think will make it hopefully make it a nice project for the town. Including the commercial piece. I know the commercial piece is kind of on the south side and doesn't have access, but Main Street's still important. You know, I mean, I think both visually and access wise, I mean, you want people to know your business on Main
Mhm.
Street. So we do have some opportunity to get there as pedestrians, but just not vehicularly.
Yeah, to Eddie's point, I think having some sort of like soft surface trail figured into this, if you can't do the green space, would be a nice alternative, at least for folks living right there to get to Main Street, get to the commercial pieces, things like that.
And that vertical, there is a vertical trail that runs through along the property line. It's a little
Oh,
bit
I haven't seen it.
obscured. So
Oh, there it is.
yeah, so I mean that you're absolutely right. Even though we don't have this connecting vehicular access, we do have a way for people to get from Home Avenue as pedestrians all the way down to Main
Perfect.
Street or
That
vice
would be good into
versa.
that.
No, it's okay. It's half toned, but
Yeah.
hard to see. But yeah, that was the point, is to connect those as pedestrians. So even if you want to go for a walk and you want to get out to Main, if there's a connecting path, or get up to Home, there's a way to get out on the paths.
I had a question. I know that the parking spaces meet the minimum code requirements. Could you go into a little bit more detail about, I know that it's a mix of, you say 3-bedroom townhomes and then the studio apartments over the commercial?
Yeah, so I'll just run through it real quick if that's okay. So the residential summary on the north side is 13 2-story townhomes, 2-story, 2-bedroom, or around 1,200 square feet. So again, these are just blocks at this point, but that requires 26 parking spaces, so 2 parking spaces per unit, and that's what we've shown on the site plan. The commercial space has 7 500 square foot studio units over the top. So there are 11 studio unit parking spaces required, and there are actually 12 off-street parking spaces shown for the 7 studio units. And additionally, there's a total of 4,200 square feet of commercial. I split the difference between commercial is actually 1 space per 200 square feet. Office is 1 space per 400 square feet. I calculated one space per 300 square feet and came up with 14 commercial parking spaces, which are shown, which is based on one space per 300 square feet. So the overflow really, I mean, those parking standards are significant, but it's also why we've shown some parallel parking on Home Avenue if it's possible, so that if those spaces are open, they're available to some of the folks that live there.
I appreciate the efforts made to increase the parking. I know there's a couple of other areas around town that I feel like the minimum amount as outlined in the code isn't enough. And we're starting to experience some issues with that. So going above and beyond that is kind of something that I would be looking for. Does anyone else have any questions before we open it up to public comment?
No.
Alrighty. It is now 7:41. Go ahead and open up public comment. Do we have anyone here wishing to make a public comment or anyone online?
There's nobody online.
Alrighty, we'll go ahead and close the public comment at 7:42. And does anyone have any additional comments or questions? Not, I'd entertain a motion.
I move to recommend approval to the Board of Trustees of the Main Street Plaza sketch plan with the conditions listed in the staff report and spoken during this meeting.
I'll second.
We have a motion from Commissioner Wood, a second from Commissioner Berteau. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, Justin, you're muted, but I'll assume that he's an aye. Correct? Okay.
Well, he
Oh,
Yeah, he's-
sorry, I was informed, I'm not voting tonight. I'm just an alternate.
Yeah,
So
he's
I-
an, oh, okay.
Yep.
Understood. All right,
No
well,
problem.
then it passes. All right, thanks, guys.
Thanks for your help.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks. All right, next on the agenda is the planner's report, a verbal update from Director Centeno.
Yes. Had a note, so at the board meeting last night, Manager Mann had brought up to the trustees an idea about switching from a 5-person and 2 alternate board for the Planning and Zoning Commission to a 7-member board where everybody votes, and the Board of Trustees directed staff to go on ahead and start working on that ordinance change. And so soon you will be a 7-person voting board with no alternates, so we don't have this like weird, like who's allowed to vote and who's not.
Thank you, Jim, for
Yeah,
pushing
thanks
that
for doing
along.
that. That's awesome.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree.
Not sure why it was 5 with 2 alternates.
It's kind of
but
silly. Yeah.
what it was. So it just seems to make sense to go.
It had to have been some kind of a quorum issue that they,
It may have been back in the day, they had a hard time getting enough
many
people
people.
to serve, but as the town's grown, that doesn't seem to be the problem anymore.
And we want a heartfelt thank you to Commissioner Stepesnik for serving on this board. This will be her last meeting tonight. So we very much appreciate her. And you will meet your new planning commissioner next Tuesday
Okay.
on July 1st. So that's when the term had expired for Commissioner Stepesnik, and then the new commissioner Giorelli, I believe, Commissioner Giorelli,
or
is going.
Giardelli, you can't say that. Most of us can say.
Don't say that, she's gonna.
I'm like practicing, trying to make sure I don't screw up her name. Will be joining us, and then Commissioner Anderson was voted on as a voting member, which everybody will be eventually, but he will be a voting member starting Tuesday. And the other alternate is going to be Jack Ehlers. So you'll get to meet all of them on Tuesday.
Which project did he have? Is he the one with the fence?
He was the 765 Antler Point, which was the adjustment of the building envelope.
All right.
Yep.
Right.
Wait,
Love the
so
face of you.
we still have an alternate?
Until we can adopt an
Okay.
ordinance and it
Okay,
can be
we still gotta
published and it
Keep
takes
going.
effect.
It takes 2 readings, so about a
Got it,
month.
yep, got it. Okay.
We will, I mean, we're gonna take this directly to the Board of Trustees because they requested it, so it's expedited.
Soon enough, Dana.
No, it's just like,
There's just a process.
Or
oh, I know. I usually do get to vote. Just the way that it works out, so.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Director Centeno, and yeah, thank you
Yes.
for your service on the board,
you.
Jennifer. It's
Appreciate it.
been a pleasure to serve with you. Yeah, thanks for your commitment to the
Thank
town.
you, everybody.
You'll be missed.
Thank you. I'll come see you guys.
Yeah.
I was kind of hoping you'd make it a tougher decision for him and stick with it.
Well, so my child is going to play travel ball, which will
Oh.
take a lot of my time. So,
Very good.
you know,
It's important to be a mom.
yeah, she's only young once.
You're another hero for that.
Yeah, hopefully we'll see you back
So,
up here again
Well,
sometime.
maybe, yeah, for sure. So, once she.
Stop by and show us the trophy.
Okay,
Yeah, there you
got
go.
it.
Other than that, I don't have any updates. We'll see everybody Tuesday. Thank you guys for the extra meeting.
What do you think is on the July 1st meeting?
That is gonna be the River Trace, lot line adjustment and site plan amendment,
And what?
site plan amendment,
Oh, okay.
so they can add the additional parking.
Oh, good.
Yes. And then we'll also have a code change it's a noise ordinance code change that'll be on the agenda on Tuesday. And then we will unfortunately be asking for additional special meetings in the future as we're trying to clear off some of these applications that have been building up. But we will let you know ahead of time.
Get to it.
Are you starting to see a lot more applications also? They continuously coming in?
They are continually, they're continually coming in. It's building up. We're getting busy. We're growing fast. There's Concert Friday, if you're able to come.
Who's playing?
It's a locals highlight, so it'll be the Feeding Giants and then the Queen Bees.
Nice.
So that'll be a fun one. Yes.
No, I can't make it.
Oh, no.
Lily's-
I'm sorry.
Lily-
No, we'll be at games.
Lily All-Star game, yeah.
Thanks,
Yes.
Nicole. Any fellow commissioner comments, round robin? Anyone got anything?
No.
Nope. Great. Well, thanks for the town to continue working on the Rislenda application and the continuous conversations that are going on with that. And you guys are putting a lot of work into that. So thank you for the effort there.
Move adjourn.
Second. All right.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks.
Have a good night, guys. See you later.
Thanks, Justin.
Hi.
Piles of